What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Troy Kearns podcast. We talk all things real estate, business, and entrepreneurship. Today, I've got a very, very special person, somebody we've had lots of knuckle drag out fights. We've made a lot of money together, and we've grown together. I feel like he's a brother of mine. He's coming to be our speaker at our Vegas mastermind. First time in Vegas together, even though I lived here for 15 years. He never came and visited me. But it's Alain Harpin from Gulfport, Mississippi, man. Alain, welcome.
Thank you, Troy. It's good to be here.
Man, so do you remember the fateful day?
You talking about our first engagement?
Yes.
I do.
Let's talk about that.
All right. Talking about like when you came to my
actually,
office?
first, let's go backwards and talk about, before we get into that, let's talk about who Alain Harpin is.
Okay. I'm just a schlub from the Northeast, moved to the South, met my wife, had 3 kids, I got lambasted by the Hurricane Katrina and decided I wanted to sell real estate. And then a few short years later, I met you.
Before that, you were working, what brought you down to the Gulf Coast?
I was with a hospitality company, and we traveled along the Southeast region.
What were you doing?
I was working in coliseums and convention centers doing food service.
You're walking around with a tray.
It's at some points, yeah.
Right. So your life was in the hospitality business, and then you decide, what brought you into real estate?
I've always wanted to do it. It's kind of like one of those passions that a lot of people have that they're just really not sure how to do it.
Right. And so I met you, and you were working at Gardner Real Estate.
Yeah, I was working for a big box, and like so many others, just not happy, just grinding it out, doing the same thing that so many other people are doing in an office, and just didn't enjoy it.
Right. So, God, what year was that?
That was 2011.
2011, man. So
Spring.
It's 2023.
Yeah.
Just to kind of let you know where I was at, I had actually, in my small mind, I had looked at, Mississippi, and I've always wanted to own a piece of land in Mississippi for whatever reason. I read a lot of these books as a kid about Huck Finn and this and that and the other thing, and Vegas is collapsing at that point in time.
Right.
And I'm thinking, man, if the market of Vegas is going down the drain, then these people in Mississippi must just be giving away their property. And so we started to look for a piece of land, and I had flown in with a friend of mine and to watch a Saints game, and we started looking at land up in Mississippi. I think this was in 2010.
Okay.
And I started every time we went up to Mississippi, we'd go through this little place called Gulfport, Biloxi area. And I'm living in Vegas, and for the guys who don't know what Biloxi is like, it's a casino town.
Right.
And I'm like, this place is pretty cool. And at that point in time, I believe that, I'm making a threat to myself. I told my property manager that I'm not buying any more properties in Vegas until you're at 80% occupancy. And we were having some problems with occupancy. Actually ended up backfiring, but I met you, so it ended up working out just fine. But
I've heard that argument too, though, by the way, or that threat.
What threat?
Yeah. I'm not buying any more properties in Biloxi until you take over my properties.
Oh, yeah, you did get that threat. You did, because the problem was Alain had 25 properties under rental management, and none of them were mine. And I'm like, dude, and I've got Tom and Becky Hudgens managing my properties, and I'm buying everything through Alain. And I just told him, I said, I can't buy any more.
I remember the day.
Yeah. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. We were at that conference in Texas.
Okay. So I did it in person?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
we were at the conference in Texas.
Okay.
The
REO conference.
Yeah, that REO conference. And you and John cornered me and just said, listen, we got a proposition, and I think it's going to work out for you, Alain. And I was really at a crossroads because I wasn't sure. 25 properties is a burden if you're just a realtor, because you got to manage everything, including the repairs and maintenance, which is really what just drags you down. You can't devote any time to selling property.
Right.
So you guys lumped 25 in my lap and said, this is going to work out for you. And I realized that you were telling me something that was really a good thing. And so, yeah, I didn't hesitate.
No, you didn't. At that point in time, we had built a good enough relationship. The first property that I called you about, do you remember that one?
That was funny, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that one.
I was doing some REO sales back when they had some independent relationships with realtors before they went to the big guys individuals like you.
Right.
And so yeah, we used to go ahead, and they were really good listings because they would like to go through them, renovate them, put them together, and then put them on the market. And so they were a really good buy, and they were in great condition. And then you gave me that call that one day.
Right. That property, 1108 Beach Avenue.
Yeah.
I called you. I asked you a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
And you gave me the answers.
Yeah.
And then I put the ad on, I think, Craigslist to see if you were telling me a bunch of BS. I asked you, like, how easy is it to get people out of the property? You're like, it's not too hard. I'm like, how much is the rent going to be? And you told me the rent. And so I went and put that on there. I went and researched the laws. You end up being right. So we bought that house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how one led to two, but one led to two led to three. And before you know it, how many properties are you right now managing for myself personally, and then John and me together?
You personally bought 65, and with John and you, another 25, I think.
So we're close to 100 all in, and then we've got a bunch more that we just recently bought.
I mean, you guys just locked up 3.
Right.
And you're trying to take down a 4th that we put in an offer on today. So yeah, you're on fire.
Well, and here's where I want to go to in this conversation. So obviously, Elaine and I got together. We built a relationship. Elaine is, as he always tells me on the phone, I think this is the conversation we just had the other day. He's like, people really hate me because I'm the guy who comes in there and just picks apart everything. But he is thorough. He's got a great construction thumb. I've said that from day one.
You have.
And he's thorough and he's loyal and he's honest and he's everything that you'd want in a property manager. But he's also his own biggest enemy, right? he does a lot of this stuff on his own. And so we kind of sold you on the property management to try to get you there. But how many properties are you managing right now?
Yeah, we're right at around 400, and we may be securing that big load. I got a meeting with those folks this week.
Did you ever want to invest in real estate? Did you ever want to live the life of your dreams? Did you want financial freedom? Did you want to break the generational curse? Did you want to help your parents out? Did you want to help your mom out? Maybe you work for a job that you don't like. You know, they say there's only one reason to work a job, and that's to learn, right? If you're not learning at your job, you're just going through the motions, right? We have a free Facebook group, the Millionaire Mentorship Facebook group for real estate investing. Make sure you join. The link is in the description. If you want to schedule a free call with me and my team and you actually want to start, I would suggest you do so. We have helped hundreds of people change their lives, and all they had to do was get started. They booked a call with me and my team, and they got the ball rolling. And I'm so confident that if you don't get your first or next investment property within the first 90 days, you don't pay, and I'll give you $1,000 cash. That's how confident I am. Obviously, you got to take action. You can't just do nothing and expect that to happen, but that's life. Life's all about taking action. Make sure you give this podcast a 5-star review, share it with a friend, and take action. So you got a final meeting, and you're going to be picking up another 70. Is that business running itself now?
It is finally really going under its own steam. Yeah.
Whoop, whoop, Diana.
Well, yeah.
Well, they circled with me about the properties that I have just bought. They're like, hey, what are you going to do on these ones? And they copied you on it, I think.
Right.
So that was.
Yeah. They're all over you now. I just tell them, you guys need to reach out.
I love that. Okay, so they're on top of me. So now you're doing 450 rentals. Now, tell me where your real estate career is right now. Are you slinging houses every day now?
No, that's like, the furthest thing from my mind, honestly. As a matter of fact, I just peeled off a showing yesterday to a friend of mine who's an agent. I just cannot devote any time to showing property, and nobody turns away $1 unless there are 2 other ones that you're tripping over.
Right.
And so I can just remember so many times you telling me you're going to get to that point where you're just going to have to push it away, as you did. And so right now I'm really away from the traditional type of listing stuff, but we're trying to take down properties for our own rental inventory. We're trying to flip houses, and it's going fun. It's exciting.
So you're going through the process. You're pretty much what's the word? very consistent is the best way to say it.
Yeah, I'm that turtle, as you like to call me.
You're a turtle, but I would say like you just recently moved out of your own house. Like you're the type of guy who's gonna live in a house till he dies. You know what I mean?
I had no plans to move out of my house. You're right.
And then you made a big mistake and you flipped the house right next door, and your wife saw it, right?
That's right.
And so you ended up moving into that house.
That's right. We did.
So how has flipping and investing in real estate changed your life?
Well, in many ways, it's very exciting. It's, it appeals to, a lot of different things in people that have that entrepreneurial spirit. You get to create, you get to manage, you get to make money, and you get to improve on your community. And so, obviously, the biggest driving force is going to be the fact that you're chasing after that financial freedom, but it's so very rewarding to be able to be part of something that's that's much bigger than a sale.
Right. The sale ends, it recycle, do it again.
Right.
And now you've done some pretty big flips too. Like, do you remember your first one? I do.
Yeah, it took me a whole year to flip that house.
Tell me, like, what went wrong there? What were your big learning lessons on that? What year was that, by the way?
That was like, what was that, 16?
Okay.
So, it's like anything. You get on the bike, you start pedaling, you really don't know where you're going. You're really having trouble staying up. And the whole thing about that business is that contractors make or break you.
Right.
You're the guy with all the risk. I'm quoting you here. You're holding all the paper, and you're at the mercy of all these variables. And when the contractor doesn't show up, your nickel is still flipping, losing a penny a day, so to speak. So until you have that right guy, you just can't get it done.
Right.
And that was my big problem there.
Right. And so that one got done. You made money on that one?
We did. I didn't make a ton of money, but we learned how to do the flip. We made, not that these numbers really make any sense, but I think we made about $35,000 on this flip. We spent more than we should have, as you hear all the time. But we flipped it. It was a beautiful little house. And so the one thing is that we could feel really good about the fact that we left the neighborhood better than we found it.
Right. We do that all the time.
All the time.
We don't buy turnkey stuff.
Right.
We try to.
Yeah, if you can get it for the same price, right?
Right. So now you're flipping, and how many flips did you do last year?
I think we did 4 or 5.
Was that better income than you had made your previous years?
Yeah, I got whacked. You get what you do is you get ahead of yourself and you forget about the tax implications. You're learning how to do one trade, and then you forget about the other trade, and that is that the IRS is right behind you, watching every nickel you make. And so it's like now you have to learn how to shelter your income legally. Absolutely.
Right. And so you're getting that figured out now. So
I got that. I got the best financial guy out there right now, the accountant from, and that was your recommendation.
Yeah, I truly believe that. I've been through a bunch of them, and he actually owns some properties that you manage, right?
Of course. It's just like this.
Nepotistic.
God, yeah, we are just all attached at the hip. It's a good thing we're all honest and we look out for each other, because these things can go bad sideways really fast.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, it can. If you've got somebody in there who's not an honest guy, looking out, cooking the books.
Oh my God.
And that's why we had you come and speak at this event, because when we talk about, and I'm not going to just lump you into the category of a property manager, I'm going to say somebody that cares. The fact that you just happen to have a business now that manages my properties because you care. And that business is one you can cheat the crap out of your customer.
Right.
You could, property, you could repair them to death. You can there's a million different ways.
There are so many ways you can hide money.
Right. Yeah. There's a million ways as you can hide money. So having somebody who's honest and trustworthy, that's not going to rob you in the middle of the night, is something that we're looking for.
Right.
What piece of advice would you have? Because you also kind of started late. Like,
I did.
in your life.
I did.
How old are you right now?
Dude, I'm 59.
59.
Yeah, when you and I met, I was, I think, like 47, and you're like, you're 50? And I was like, dude, don't push me that far. But yeah, I mean, I started late. I had a 20-year career in hospitality. I mean, it took. I had a good income there, but I wasn't ever happy.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, where were we at in that question?
Well, I was just saying, like, that you didn't start, like, people sometimes think it's too late.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I started. I think the first house I sold, I was 42, and then so. Yeah, I was like way late to the party, but that's kind of been the story of my life. I've always been, last but not least. The turtle in the hare. I'm always the turtle. But I get advice for people that it sounds like what you're saying, and that is it's never too late to reinvent yourself, to change gears and to follow your dreams.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to say is, like, if you didn't, it is too late.
You're right.
Right, like, if you didn't...
17 years had gone by.
Right.
Now look, I'd be like miserable.
Right.
And look at all the opportunity I would have passed up.
And look at where you're at right now. Do you think you're in control of your life now?
Yeah, I'm in a lot more control than I was 17 years ago. And while there are lots of things that are still beyond my reach, yeah, I feel much better about the direction of things.
Right. And when you say like the directions of things, what are your goals? I know you've got one big goal, which is, go ahead and tell them what it is.
Well, I'm at that age where I have to start. Think about retiring, right? So I want to head back east. I'm from New England, and so as I've told many friends lately, it seems I've been on this long walk, and I'm finally coming back home. And so I want to retire back east. I want to retire on the East Coast of Massachusetts, and so a goal of mine is to buy a house, on the water or close to it on the Northeast Seaboard, and so that's one of my goals.
What are some of the other ones?
Well, obviously that financial freedom, that independence. I remember when you and I first started working together. When I went out on my own, I was like, there's a company out there, and they've got 800 rentals, and I can just remember you saying, yeah, you're gonna have 500 someday, Alain. You watch. And I was, those kinds of things were just beyond my, beyond my scope. And but you just keep your head down and you keep working towards it. And you got great. If you have great leadership and examples to follow, like you, and I mean that sincerely, because you are a very good friend. You get to follow in people's footsteps. So, some of that goal is to obviously build my personal rental portfolio, to continue doing the flip thing. I'd like to have a flip program, right? So that, like, I'm not raking lawns anymore, touching. You kind
of like that, dude.
I'm just kind of a glutton for punishment. But that kind of thing.
Right. So, how many rentals are you at right now?
You mean what, like my personal stuff or just in general?
Personal.
I think we're at about 12. I think I just told you last week, we just picked one up about 2 weeks ago, and we put a new roof on it, painted it inside. Now we're refinishing the floors, and it'll be ready for service in, I don't know, 2 weeks.
What'd you pay for it?
Paid $50,000 for it.
What'd you put into it?
We got about 17 in it.
So $67,000. Mm-hmm. What's it gonna rent for?
It's gonna rent for somewhere between $9,000 and $950.
Okay.
So it's it's a cute little 3-1 wood frame.
Good. And how much are your property management fees on that?
Well, they're 10%. I charge myself like I charge everybody else, and that way it just goes into the mix, and it is what it is.
Right. And the funny thing is, like, people told me before, it's, you always got these outside peanut gallery people, and I always tell them, they're like, well, what are you paying in property management?
Mm-hmm.
Say I'm paying 10%. You can't get it for less? I'm like, I'm sure I could. And I've never squeezed you down on that, have I?
No, you never have.
This is a great opportunity.
To squeeze me?
I'm messing with you. We'll do it on camera.
Right. Put me on.
Yeah, no, I mean, and this is what I mean, is like, when you start devaluing someone's hard work by saying, I really appreciate you, Alain, but that 10% that I'm paying you, it really needs to come down to 9, 8, 7, whatever it's going to be. Then he starts thinking, that hard work I'm doing for you, Troy, that needs to just stop. And then it's a you versus me type of a thing. And so my attitude is provide value. Like I try to provide every time we talk, I try to provide value to you. Right. You try to provide value to me. And I think that, if you can have a symbiotic relationship with somebody where both people benefit and not just one person benefits, like I feel like that's our relationship. Like I feel like I can call you up even, in the beginning it was a little bit tough. Like even if I bought a property from somebody else, like, and you're like, you really did that. And I'm like, I did, Alain. I'm sorry, but I got to get the deal. And in the beginning, it was tough for you to take that on the chin.
It was. We have an ego. And we question the loyalties, the friendship. There's a lot in the mix between business and friendship, and equal shares of success. It gets to be busy, and when you're at an early stage, it's hard to be able to sort all the pieces out, but we did.
Right. We sort them out. Now I think it's built more trust.
It has. It has, because I feel the same way you do. I believe that I hate being like, mushy, but
You're good.
We're there for each other, and it's like you said, you have to be that way in a business relationship, because I think most or many business relationships today are really built on, maybe this country club arrangement where, I benefit you to the extent that you benefit me, but it's really on my terms and it's not on your terms. But I have to meet your terms, and if I meat your terms, I believe that you'll meet mine.
Right. And if somebody who's out there listening right now and they're thinking about getting started in real estate investing, I would say that, I've been a mentor towards you, and we're doing that now. Now you've seen we've launched that program. Would you say that they're going to learn something? They're going to get the tools and success? I mean, I always tell people I've coached hundreds of people, and you would be one of those people that I feel like, I've been helping you out.
Have been.
Yeah. And
without a doubt.
And so we've launched this program now to help other people. And we, truthfully, and I'll just say this on camera, we're not going to make a nickel on this thing. Like if we were to just do this whole program together, it's a losing proposition.
Right.
And you start to question things like, why the hell am I doing this crap? Because of the amount of flights we paid for, and this, and the hotel, and this, and that, and then everybody we're going to pay for, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy. And you're going, why the hell am I doing it? And it goes back to the whole thing is like, if you help enough people get what they want, you're going to get what you want. That's why I'm doing it, because I know eventually I'll figure out my formula just like I figured it out with real estate. And now I have the ability to buy house after house in Mississippi where I don't have to call you. I mean, we had how many conversations where we were screaming at each other?
We've had a handful.
One in particular I remember pretty good, but other than that, it's just been mostly pretty pleasant. There's not a lot of monitoring. There's not a lot of, in the beginning, you're obviously checking everything a lot better than you are now. And then you kind of say, oh, well, I don't need to check this one so much no more. Would you advise people to get started investing in real estate? Absolutely. Would you advise people to take action and stop waiting? Yeah, that's your obstacle, right? It's the biggest roadblock. Don't wait. Quit questioning or second guessing yourself. Just do it. You did it, and so many of these other people that you've influenced have done it. I did it, and the biggest obstacle for me is probably a tie between being afraid and being afraid that I didn't have enough money in case I extended myself. And so at an advanced age, when I started late, I think that pressure weighed on me more. However, if you're 25 and you've got the desire to do it, I passed a couple opportunities out earlier in life to do it, and I ended up circling back. So don't wait, because it's like we said earlier, you'll never get that time back. Right. And that job that you work in that never forgives you, and you're never satisfied about. You're just wasting your time, wasting away. Right. You have to, I mean, and you can do this when you have a 9-to-5 job. You can flip when you have a 9-to-5 job.
Sure can.
You can wholesale when you have a 9-to-5 job. You can build a rental portfolio when you have a 9-to-5 job.
Most people are doing it.
Right. Most people who are investing in real estate, like, you know, I didn't start full-time investing. I had to start somewhere. I mean, I started with working 2 jobs to buy houses, and then, you know, you get into it. So I really appreciate you coming on the show today. I appreciate you sharing. Any final tips that you would give anybody?
Yeah. Get started. Don't wait any longer. Do it. Just
do it. And if they're going to buy properties in Mississippi and they need a good property management company, how do they get a hold of Alain Harpin?
You can call me at 228-324-7187 or just subscribe to your channel.
You could subscribe. Alain's a frequent guest on our show. He's someone that has helped me out a ton. I'm so glad that I made the call to the right person that day. I have checked it out numerous times, as you know, and I always stick with Alain. And it's true. I mean, you know, sometimes you feel like something's better, but if you have somebody who's honest, trustworthy, and that you feel that you can impact their life by providing value. We've gone on runs together. We've gone on trips together, and now you're here in Las Vegas speaking at our event as the property management expert, because you are. And a couple of those TikTok things that we put out there went viral because your advice is so sound, and I can tell by the way you talk that you think about what you're saying versus just saying it. And you're well read, you're well respected, and you deserve as much success as anybody does out there. And I hope to see you get that house in the northeastern seaboard. We've got another New Hampshire right behind me here.
Nice.
And yeah, man, it's cool, man. It's cool to see real estate change so many lives, and it's cool to see us 12 years later.
Still doing it.
Still doing it.
I love it, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Cool. Have you ever wanted to start investing in real estate, but you just don't have the time? You don't have the ability to get started, but you got the capital, right? And you want all of the advantages that the capital offers you. Well, I started a fund, and you can invest with me and my team. In fact, I'm in one of the buildings that I bought using my own money, but you could invest and actually get the benefits of investing with me and my team. Well, you got to be an accredited investor, and you've got to go to our website. I'll include the link in our bio, and you could start investing with us. It's super cool. We're going to do a lot of cool projects in Kansas City and around the country, and you'll be able to be a part of it. Make sure you give this podcast a 5-star review, share it with a friend, and take action.